Many home buyers get confused about the difference between an appraisal and a home inspection. While they may seem like the same thing, there are some big differences between the two.
Katie Johansen, a real estate agent at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Premier Properties, is here to explain the difference. Welcome back, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
What is the difference between a home inspection and an appraisal?
Yeah, this is something that it trips up a lot of home buyers and sellers, especially if you're doing it for the first time and you're new to the process. One of the main differences is that an inspection is always going to be optional. So it's up to the buyer to choose if they want to have that inspection or not. But if that buyer is using a mortgage to buy the property, which most of us are, a home appraisal is going to be required by the lender. So if they're purchasing with cash, not required. Most of the time it is.
Yeah. I did not buy my house with cash.
Most people don't.
Most people don't. So who hires these things to be done?
Yep. So the inspector is actually hired by the buyer. They get to choose which inspector they want to look at the house, and then that inspector is going to be working solely for them. They're going to be looking out for their best interest. Since the appraisal it's actually paid for by the buyer, but that appraiser is working for the lender actually. And so that appraiser is going to be looking at the lender's best interests, making sure it's a sound investment for them. And you don't get to choose the appraiser, unfortunately. It is through a random system. It's kind of a round robin system they pick them from.
How much do they cost?
So an inspection is going to start at around $350. It varies on the inspector, and then it can go up depending on the size of the home, where it's located. If it's out of town and they have to travel, there can be additional expense, or if you order additional tests like radon. And then appraisals, those vary too, but we see them on the lower end, probably about $550 to about $800 for an appraisal.
None of this seems to confuse you at all, and
No,
I feel
and
like this is probably especially why you should work with a realtor, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's important to understand what's going on. You don't want to be confused while you're probably spending the most money that you ever have in your life, making the biggest investment that you've ever made. So it's important to have somebody on your side, and I'm always happy. I love working with first-time buyers especially, and explaining that process, making sure everybody's really comfortable.
And even the second or third time around, it can still be, just because you've bought a house one time doesn't mean that you're an expert on this.
Every transaction is different. It's going to vary every single time, and you're going to have new challenges every time. So having somebody in your corner is important.
What are some of the questions you get the most from home buyers when they're, just getting started and they're confused or concerned about, the inspections?
Yeah, a lot of times, I explain with inspections that they're going to be looking for, we're concerned about main big items. No house is perfect. And so you're always going to have items. There's always going to be small things. We want to focus on those big things, those large repair items, things like that. And so with an inspector, they're going to let you know that. And then it's up to you to choose that. With an appraiser, where people get confused is that they can actually also, in addition to assigning a value to the property, which is their main job, they can require repairs to be done too. And so those have to be done prior to closing. We see that more with the government loans. They're going to be a little stricter.
And how would people be able to contact you?
My phone number is 701-870-6385, and my website is makefmhome.com.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.